What's up, tribe? How you guys doing? Go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I hope you like this video. This is Love and Hip Hop Miami Season 2, Episode 11 now. The video was late, and for that, I apologize. So this episode, we dealing with the gun violence piece. We started the episode off chaotic is shooting a video. Remember last week, Hollywood was like, you need to go and get these videos out the way in case your ass end up in jail. And Chaotic's thing is, I got a good case. I ain't going to jail, but let's go ahead and, let's do it to make it do what it do. And Joy was there. She did his hair for the video. I don't have nothing to say about that. I like Chaotic. I really do. I don't like looking at Chaotic, but I like Chaotic. And I don't mean that in a mean way, but y'all know what I'm saying. But I like him. I really do like Chaotic. They got to talking about gun violence and how they were affected. And let me say this, and I've said this before, and I'll continue to say it, I guess, when it's appropriate. I grew up in D.C. in the 80s, 90s. And if you know anything about D.C. in the 80s, 90s, you know that. At one point, we were the murder capital and all that other stuff. And I can't think of anybody in my age group who wasn't affected by gun violence. I know this generation deals with a lot of it. Unfortunately, it's gotten worse, not better. And it's sad. I'm in education, and I have lost a decent number of students to gun violence. And it never gets any easier. It never gets any easier. And so when you hear them tell their stories, and you hear people car getting shot up, 300 bullets. Trick later on in the episode talks about his brother's car got shot up 300 times. What the fuck? 300 bullets? Are you serious? Chaotic's been shot 17 times. It's a miracle that this young man is even still on this earth, walking and can talk and has cognitive ability. We know the story of Trina's brother, and Joy has shared her story of her family. Like, it is so unfortunate that this is something, it's a club you don't want to belong to, right? And so they decided that they were going to have a visual to try to bring some awareness and figure out what they can do within their communities to try to stop the violence. Chaotic said that he feels like he needs to get some help because he really feels like that he has PTSD and it is triggered by certain things. And he said right now his anxiety is through the roof, that it's been triggered, and that he needs to really reach out and get some help, which I think that was a good idea. So that was what that was about. Then we see Trina with Jesse Wu. Now, I heard Jesse Wu was fired from the show. So I don't know if this is stuff she already filmed and they decided to just go ahead and show the footage and not edit her out. But I don't think she's with the show any longer. And I'm trying to decide how I want to say this. She's not with the show any longer, and from my understanding, and I can understand both sides of the coin. Reality TV plays is what it is, right? People can say what they want to say about Mona Scott Young, but she has created an empire, and she's created an empire on a formula. Jessie Wu came into that empire, and she looked at it as an opportunity to sort of share what she had going on and what was working in her life, but that wasn't what Mona Scott Young's plan was for Jessie Wu and her character on this show, or her storyline on this show, and it didn't mesh. Jessie Wu has a lot of things going on, some stuff with BET, and a lot of great things going on that wasn't showcased or highlighted, and she was frustrated by that. They built up this whole storyline with her and Amara La Negra, and she was like, I don't even know that girl like that, throwing drinks and stuff like that. That's just not me. But my thing is, what did you think you were signing up for? But anyway, moving on. Trina said she hadn't seen her since they had the Me Too, wasn't a meeting, but event. And she was saying that she's doing better. They kind of just glossed over that, really. They didn't really talk a lot about it. But they went on to talk about how Julian made some phone calls and was sort of kind of trying to blacklist her. And she was saying how, just because things didn't work out between her and Julian, for him to call producers and say don't work with her. But my thing is, that's what happens when you show your ass. That's what happens. And I'm not defending Julian because it's wrong for him to do that. But you came at him and you accused him of some stuff and you were real disrespectful, and that's how he chose to retaliate. Again, I'm not defending it because I don't necessarily think that was the best way for him to handle it, but that's what happens when you sort of make enemies of the wrong people. And Trina was like, look, I've never known Julian to be that type of person. However, I'm not going to say he wouldn't have, to put it past him, but she was like, y'all need to just talk it out, work it out. Trina ain't going to get into the what, girl, what? Well, he ain't shit. She was like, y'all need to work that out. Okay, so the next part of this, the next little storyline, I'm going to go on and let y'all know now. Y'all going to probably think I'm an asshole when I get done saying what I have to say. But let me be clear. This situation with Shay, most women, I'll be interested to hear the comments. I think most women are going to probably share my opinion of what I'm getting ready to say. But I could be wrong. Put it in them comments. This was some bullshit. Shay has fibroids. Fibroids are a tumor. I've had fibroids. Most of my friends have dealt with fibroids. Can they be life-threatening? Absolutely. A lot of things can be life-threatening. I mean, can doctors say things to make it scary? Absolutely. Doctors can say things and you'll be sitting there like, oh my goodness, like I'm going to die. She has fibroids. It's the size of a grapefruit. And it's grown from a tangerine to a grapefruit. Again, I've had fibroids. I had a girlfriend who had a fibroid. And that's what it was, the size of a grapefruit. And she had the surgery and she was off her feet for a while. But I mean, it really wasn't that big of a deal. And for Shay to be acting like I thought she was going to say that they weren't sure if it was cancerous and she was being tested for cancer. Like, I thought, because when I was just like, and she talking about not wanting to have a scar and all this other stuff. And I'm just like, really? That's what we doing? Over some fibroids? That's what we doing? Everything that she talked about, I dealt with. I mean, guys, if it ain't any guys listening and y'all get queasy about this stuff, go on and fast forward through this for a couple of seconds. But I've had irregular menstrual cycles my whole life. I've had all kinds of tests done. I've been put on all types of birth control and all this other stuff. I've lost so much blood that I was anemic, and that my doctor actually pulled me out of work for a while because he was like, I don't want you driving. Your blood count is so low. I'm worried about you passing out while you're driving. Like, that's how bad it got with me at one time. And I ended up having to, I in my lifetime, for my female issues, I've probably had about 5 different procedures. Some more serious than others. I'm not going to get into all the details. Some more serious than others. But I've been cut, and I'm not saying that Shay didn't have reason to be concerned about being cut. Like, anytime you have surgery, there's potential for anything to go wrong. Anytime you have to be put under with anesthesia, I was going to say anesthesiologist, but anytime you're put under, yes, there are concerns, and of course the doctor has to go through all of that could go wrong. So of course they're talking about, you could die, you could do this, you could do that, you could do that, They have to do all of that, and yes, it's scary to hear, but I just felt like that whole situation was really blown out of proportion. Now, maybe it's me, maybe I'm insensitive because I have dealt with my own issues, so it doesn't hit me the same way. Yes, if she doesn't treat it, it could be very serious. And yes, fibroids could become cancerous. So all of that is a possibility. But basically all they were saying was, you got some fibroids, you got to get rid of them. Yes, you have irregular menstrual cycles. Like I said, I've dealt with all that. Too much, like I said, So maybe it's just me because I'm desensitized to the whole thing. But anyway, I felt like it was blown out of proportion to give Shay a storyline other than her fighting people. But okay. I hope everything went well. I'm happy for you. Sorry that you got to have a scar on your belly. But like her brother said, you know what's sexier than a scar? Life. Okay, moving on. And that's the end of the assholes part of this episode. Well, no, I think something else I'm about to be an asshole about. But anyway. So, Trina has her rock star event. She's showcasing the artists that are on her label. And you know what's funny? She invited Bobby. And what's funny was she was like, I'm going to invite Bobby so that he could see what he missed out on. What? You never offered him a contract. Like, again, my only beef with what Bobby did was how he handled it. I feel like Bobby should have told you, since he had been begging you, he should have let you know, look, Trina, appreciate everything you've done for me, but I'm going to go ahead and just go with somebody else. But my thing is, you never offered him to be on Rockstar, so you making it seem like he missed out on something. He missed out on something you never gave him. Like, come on, Trina, you can't have it both ways. You can't. But she did invite him, and they talked, and she said, I'm not mad at you. She said, I was really only mad at the fact that you never told me what it was. And y'all know, if y'all look at Real Housewives of Atlanta, last week, Portia had on the same dress that Trina has on in this confessional. And I knew I had seen that dress before. It's the same dress, but Portia just pregnant, so it was, you know, fit her a little differently. But it looks nice on both of them. Anyway, moving on. So everybody's at the party. Amara's there. Bobby comes. Joy, Trick. Now, Trick bought Amara as his date. Amara said, I ain't know this was no date. Trick was like, what? He said, look, I ain't nobody's homie, lover, friend. Hate to quote R. Kelly, but that's what he said. He was like, and I'm out. You know, Trick got mad. He was pissed off. He was like, now what made her think this wasn't no date? I don't know. I feel bad for Trick, though, because I felt like they set him up. But Jessie Woo got an opportunity to talk to the producers that she did the song for, and then they wanted her to pay them $30 grand and da-da-da-da-da. And they agreed to go ahead and let her, it was a real fast conversation, but basically they agreed to allow her to have the song, and I guess they're going to have like a partnership, a one-shot deal or something like that. So I guess whatever money she makes off the song, they're going to split it, or however they're going to work it out. So that worked out. And then they talked about Jillian and how, you know, she was like, and I know you got some phone calls from Jillian. And they told her, they were like, yeah, it really ain't a good look, you know, that Jillian is basically trying to mess up your name. Like, you really need to go talk to him, and y'all need to get that straight, because that ain't really a good look. Like, we know you. And so we kind of had our own situation with you. But, you know, for the next person who don't know you like that, it could really be a problem. And, of course, miraculously, who comes walking up? Jillian. And basically, Jillian was like, look, you came at me, you disrespected me. That's how I chose to handle it. It is what it is. And then Jessie, she proceeded to be disrespectful again. And they sort of kind of got into it again. And he pretty much was like, look, so we just going to leave it, you know, we're going to leave it like it is. And my thing is this is how I feel about it. You don't have to like Jillian. She said, you know, I ain't like the way things were going, you know. He was like, basically, so, you know, as far as Amara's concerned, you're going to back up off of that. She was like, as long as she don't disrespect me, I'm not going to disrespect you. He was like, all right, whatever, cool. This is how I feel about it. You're trying to get into the industry that he's already in. Now, I don't know how well he's established in this industry, but he clearly has been working in the industry for many years, and he has certain contacts. He showed you how he can flex. He showed you what he can do. It's okay to be a strong woman but still maintain your integrity without pissing everybody off. And I feel like she didn't know how to finesse that. Because that conversation with Julian really, I feel like, didn't have to be that harsh. She didn't have to be so with him, right? But anyway, it is what it is. So Amara's there, and Amara actually had a conversation with Trina, and she was like, you know, I heard that you kind of have a problem with me. And Trina was like, no, it really ain't you. She was like, it's Julian. Again, here goes Julian. She said, me and him have had a business relationship for many years, and it seemed like once he started working with you, then, you know, he kind of let everything fall to the wayside to work with you. And so my thing was, he got, you know, he had his foot so far up your ass that I had a problem with him, but no, I don't have no beef with you. And, you know, Mara was like, I appreciate that. She said, because I don't want no beef with you. Like, I really respect you. And, you know, and she said in her confessional, what Julian does, he a grown ass man. That's on him. What he chooses to do, that's on him. And And so she said, look, I'm going to go on and get out of here because you got a whole bunch of people in here that I don't rock with right now. You got Bobby, you got Jesse, so I don't want to mess up your event, so I'm going to roll out. And she was like, yeah, I don't want you to mess up my event either. I said, oh, shit. So then we see that Chaotic goes to, he goes to talk to a therapist about the PTSD that he has. And she said that he seems to hit all the marks, that he seems to really have some PTSD that he needs to deal with. And he was telling her how he's not sleeping and how he uses it. He said, you know, basically, I take NyQuil so I can go to sleep sometimes. And, you know, he said, I'm medicating with alcohol and women, you know. And he was like, he sounds like he really does have some anxiety. And certain things will trigger that anxiety. I'm in no position to diagnose whether it's PTSD or not, but it definitely sounds like that there's some anxiety there. And that's going to help his court case, I'm sure, you know. Because we see him go to court. He didn't take the plea, and so his case is going to move forward. He has a really good lawyer, so he says one of the best lawyers in Miami-Dade County. So I just wish him the best in his court case because I believe his story, and I believe that the police didn't identify themselves, and now they want to act like, oh, he ran from the police. Well, if I don't know you the damn police, I may or may not stop either. Okay, if you ain't flashing no lights and something like that, and I'm riding by myself, I'm not stopping either. Like, I don't know who you are, and I don't know what your intentions are. We're pulling me over, and depending on where I am, I may not stop. Like, you know, when I first started driving, my dad was telling me about, you know, if the police want to pull you over and it's in an unsafe neighborhood, you turn on your interior light until you get somewhere that is more lighted or you feel is more safe. And so I would do something like that if I felt like the police were pulling me over in a situation where it was too dark or whatever. Like, and I don't know if that's true or not, but that's what my daddy told me. Y'all let me know if y'all heard that before too. I thought that, I don't know. Knock on wood, I've never had to test the theory. Been pulled over before, but not in a situation where I felt like, you know, I wasn't safe or whatever. We see with Trina, Bobby, and Prince go and talk to the kids for a program with Burger King. Some kids that are interested in going to music. And they asked them questions, and it was really cute. And, you know, and basically they just told them, go for what you know. Don't let anybody convince you or discourage you. And you got to be firm. And they asked some decent questions about women in the industry and just chasing your dreams. And then when it was over, they found out that Burger King is going to donate a studio to their school. And the kids, like, I don't know if they already knew it, or the camera just didn't get a good reaction, because they were just like, for real? We get in the studio? Cool. I was like, are they high? Like, it was just, like, I would expect them to have a better reaction than what they had. So, like, either they already knew that the studio was coming, or they forgot to tape their first reaction, or these kids are just chill. Like, because they were just like, for real? Wow, we get in the studio. Cool. I said, okay. But Prince and Bobby were getting along for the sake of the kids. You know, they was getting along. And it was, what was her name? Michelle Pooch. Michelle Pooch set the whole thing up or whatever with Burger King. And then in the last scene, we see the visual that they had. And, you know, like I said, everybody really shared their story. And we saw they had pictures. And we heard the stories of how all of them have been affected by the gun violence and have lost people in their life. And like I said, some of the stories, you know, like I said, Trick talking about his brother's car being shot up 300 times. Like, come on. And, you know, we know that people get involved in the lifestyle and they get caught up in certain situations. But we also know that a lot of innocent bystanders get caught up in these situations and they didn't have anything to do with it. So it was definitely a great message that was sent. They talked about the violence, but they also talked about what it is they need to do as far as getting into the communities and being more mentors and teach these young kids how to be men instead of what they think being a man is. And it was decent. It was decent. You know, every once in a while, Mona throws these PSAs out there, and it's a great thing. Because they're usually much needed, you know, especially when you know the crowd that's listening, who watches these types of shows. You know, Mona gets a lot of flack for things, but this is always a good change. So anyway, that is Love and Hip Hop Miami. Y'all let me know what y'all think. Drop it in them comments. Peace.